So in today's video, I want to show you how to design the Stamps and Sons e-commerce store. Design for responsive design. So we're going to use it for mobile. Tablet design isn't really done anymore in a way because there's really a small percentage to do, but usually the developers adapt to it more or less. It makes sense to spend a lot more resources and time on mobile as well as desktop and improve those than it is to work on tablet. It does depend based on your audience, so definitely check the analytics for that. I usually start, most of the time I start with desktop version because it just makes things a lot better and the results are a lot better after, because there's a lot of real estate on the desktop, so the screen's bigger, you can use the wideness of the screen, a lot more information is on one screen. You can use images, videos, copy, headlines. So it's a lot more structured. This real estate helps to increase the presentation layer and to increase clarity, focus outwards in the scanning, readability, and everything. So you also don't really, I would say, you go all out on desktop, but for mobile you need to do I would say compromises, because the screen is small, so you're limited. You can use the smaller text, but it would decrease the readability, and if you decrease readability, the content won't be read, so the conversions will go down. So I have this approach that I really want to have the short page as much as possible, short mobile page, and for that reason I do stack the sections together where it makes sense. So if there's an image and there's a text, we stack them. So images on top, the copy is on bottom, so the image introduces a bit of context. But if there's, I would say, similar information, like for example, the product cards of the best-selling products, we have 4. So if we use those, we won't stack those, because the reason for this is we want to have the short page as much as possible. So whatever the user wants to see more of, he will scroll to the side. So scrolling is it requires less motivation. It's easier to do than it is to kind of click, for example, load more, and scroll is a bit more natural. So if they scroll down, they will get information 1, information 2, information 3. So they will see the sections. But if, for example, they're interested in that section more, they will scroll to the side. If they're not interested, they will scroll to the further down. And that's kind of the main principle to kind of increase the user's experience. So we really don't want them to scroll 3 times before they kind of stop and look at the new information or new section. We really want to kind of keep it as small as or short as possible. Yeah, let's just jump in. We have the header component somewhere. Just gonna add it here, and let's start with the main section. So as I mentioned before, we go and add the image first. I wouldn't use the square images here. I would use the 4:3 ratio. 2:1, yeah. 4:3 ratio, because we really want to save on space. If in this case the photos are longer, each pixel actually counts. So if we save, I don't know, 12, 24 pixels for each section or for each image, it kind of stacks a lot at the end. So the longer the page, the more scrolling is required, the harder it is to kind of view and get all the signals. 19.9, 19, the rating, the ratio of 19 to 9 is also used, but it's too small. So 4.3 is perfect. We will use some of the square ones, so 1:1 ratio on some of the images, but they will either be smaller or they really need to be a strong signal to show it at this size. So let's continue. I already have some of the styles set, I think. I don't remember, but we usually want to balance the text. Yeah, I need to create the stars. Oh, I already have them. The text should be, the body text should be 16 pixels for maximum readability, or 14 for some smaller text, so which is not body. That way we get a nice balance between them. Already have the component for the mobile version. Okay. Like this. Buttons, we can stack buttons. We will maybe. So even while doing the desktop one, it's good practice to always kind of fix the other ones as well. So in this case, I really want to have the make a stamp, or maybe buy a stamp. Or let's have this shop now. CTA, which goes later to the collection page. But we really want to have these clear here. So while doing the mobile version, we improved the desktop one as well. So kind of iterated, see if things are okay. And we're also looking for some consistency. A bit more. This. Perfect. Bonus points if you can show the product. I usually add it maybe in the middle, cut out product here or here. It adds to the context of the store, so the user will actually know what's it about without reading anything. So In this case, we may want to kind of change this photo later as well. Okay. So usually I end up having the similar height as the desktop version while stacking. So that's kind of a good rule of thumb. If it's smaller, then it's even better. So fix the headings section. Okay. We always try to use rhythm. So rhythm is our spacing, 60 pixels between the last section and the headline, just to kind of separate everything, like this. And to also be able to group these things together. Let's see if I have the products for mobile already. No? So I need to make a new one. Okay, let's do mobile version. Type. Desktop and mobile. A nice component. Like this. Okay. Let's go back and just change it to the new component. We can use the second one. So here's what I mentioned earlier, the stacking part. If we have more of the same information, just a different thing, we kind of add it to the end of the screen. We could have them also like this, so you only see one, but I prefer the other card or the other content is visible and cut as well. This increases the engagement to scroll as well, and also helps with the user not really miss these options. We will add the dots, so we kind of tell with this that there's more, but still users could miss this if there's just one card, so it's easily missed. We could add the buttons for left and right, but it just adds a bit more noise. I usually add the buttons next here as well, so we can add this maybe later as well, or in another video to improve it further. Okay, mobile version. This. So when doing the copy or the headlines, I usually never leave one word here. So it's good that it's balanced in lines, especially when you kind of center these. You could do it like this as well, but I think most popular needs to be together, stamps and inks. This could also work well. So it's easier to read if you don't split these too much. Okay. a bit closer. So if elements, let me just finish this, or let's remove this. So if elements or sections are too close to each other, like this, for example, it's really hard to kind of know where the next section starts, or if this content is supposed to be on the one above and so on. So it's good to have this clear separation, not too much because we're saving on space, but still like make it a bit balanced. And after the headline and the next copy or image, there needs to be a smaller gap. I use incrementals of 2, so 2 for 8, then 12, 16, 24, 32, sometimes 36, 48, and so on. So it just keeping this spacing is same or similar, or have a system of it, really helps with the design consistency and readability as well. So it's good to keep those. We'll do here again the same thing we did above. It's a similar situation. We have content which we want to show more of, but we don't want to waste space, so we do this like this. Let's add the dots, and we'll just copy the content over to make it a bit faster. We could turn these into the components as well, would save us time, but I'm already actually working on something similar. I'm actually working on an e-commerce UI kit called Baseline, which will have everything to really start the e-commerce store at a higher conversion rate. It's optimized for conversions, as well as kind of save you mind. So you don't need to pay $10,000 for your first e-com store, but you will actually get the same store design, or you can do it yourself later with this at a much affordable price. You can spend the rest maybe on ads, which makes a lot more sense if you're starting an e-commerce store. And we'll also be doing a Shopify theme and a Shopify app, which will actually let you add these sections or conversion rate optimization elements directly in your theme. Whichever theme you're using, you don't need to redo your whole store, and it will work, and it will help with conversions as well. There's a full framework with a lot of information as well, so be sure to subscribe and maybe join Skiology, and you'll get the information, so you don't miss out on increasing your conversions. Next section. So again, let's use the 4.3 ratio for this. But let's crop the image a bit better. There we go. So we saved some space. to. And then the subheadline. Base. Bullet points. And the CTA as well. Let's balance the text a bit as well, so we don't have one word. There we go. Better. Okay. Next section. It's much easier if you have components, but you really need to do them first. And there we go. It saves a lot of time. Okay. Okay, just align them here so it's clearer. In action. So we're using the same principles for each section. If we would introduce different navigation, it would actually, it depends on the context of the content, but for the same action, if we choose to kind of show different things, it could become a problem for the viewer because they would need a lot more time to kind of learn or relearn the same, I would say, experience. So if we would have arrows here but no arrows here, it's a bit of confusion, but we really want to kind of have a streamlined experience. We shouldn't really teach the user how to kind of use our website, so we use the principles that are really used from other stores as well. That way it's a lot easier for them and I don't really need to think about of how to do something. Things are much more faster and we actually decrease the time to check out with that. So we remove friction and increase motivation as well, because it's hard to kind of think more depending what you want to do, but still the more they need to think, the harder it is for them to kind of make a choice and buy. You may even not have that much time, so the more time we save, the higher the conversions will be. Okay. This, then the copy. Probably just do the product page. sorry, we'll just do the home page because the product page will be similar. But just to save time, because this is quite kind of boring, we'll do just the home page. So to create the consistency between styles, if there's a larger font, we really want to use the same, I would say, the same style whenever we can. So if the body text is 16 pixels, we always use 16 pixels for that kind of text. Buttons need to also be same. Everything that we do needs to be really consistent. Even if we're working on some different things, we really need to think about consistency, because it's also easier to develop, so it's cheaper, but introducing new elements, new styles makes everything a bit more messy, and it's really good to have clear hierarchy. So headlines, lead texts, body texts, bullet points, everything needs to have its own kind of style. So if we're using bullet points somewhere else, like here, they need to be and look the same. There will be some variety, but it depends on the things that we really want to say. Okay. Our mission. Okay, and now so this is a more custom element, because of how long it is and how big. So we want to kind of have the same feeling, but on mobile, because the screen on mobile is so narrow. It's hard to kind of make this stand out too much, but I think this should work well. So this size should be okay. Not too big and not too small. Okay. We could make it like this as well. Maybe get a bit more. Yeah, we can make it a bit bigger. Yeah, perfect. A bit more. Okay, a lot nicer. Customer love, new section. For the reviews app, embed like looks or something else. It's good to have social proof. You could invest in it or automate the emails, offer something in return to really get these reviews, or maybe even give some free products if they do a video. Video are the best, especially if they talk about the benefit. Then photos, people holding the photos, which we needed here, somewhere here, and so on. So there's these kind of tiers of the same signal, but the signal is stronger. So depending on the tier, it's always good to kind of do what you can and use the best signals, the strongest signals that you possibly can at this time, but also try and invest into better, stronger signals wherever you can. And that will actually increase conversions with each change. Okay, just a placeholder and this outline, black outline. We don't need this button to stand out too much, so we'll do it in a different style. Okay. Few sections left. FAQ. Usually design it a bit differently, but I think it should be okay for this example. If you have a really big FAQ section, you have 10, 20, 30 questions, you can ask ChatGPT to summarize or to actually group them together. So group the questions together based on intent. And that would actually help with conversions as well. You can have like a general on left, or maybe product specific, or not sure, some other ones. So policies would be in general or so on, and you can have product specific questions as well, which usually are the objections of does this work? If it's a supplement, sometimes they ask if pregnant women can use it, and you would kind of group these similar questions together and separate them, and it would increase conversions as well. You can also add event tracking to each question. So if a user clicks, I don't know, if maybe 5% of users click on do ship internationally, that's a strong signal based on the data that maybe you need to answer these questions inside the content, inside a specific section, more further up. They could ask about ingredients if it's a supplement here. So if you see a lot of clicks to any of the questions, try and create a section of it, put it above so they can easily find it. It's probably important for them for their kind of buying decisions. Okay. Make it smaller. We can balance it a bit. Okay. Here, we got a nice FAQ section, which is really important. And now we need the footer. And that's it. So this was really quick. It's good to kind of go through it again. Check for other improvements, but it is a bit longer. We could maybe remove this as well. So it depends what questions are, but if you open the most clicked, I don't know, 5 ones, you can add a button. You can add a load more button. or take them to the FAQ page. So few questions, maybe even better. Depending how many there are. So if there's a lot of questions, take them to the FAQ page, group the answers together. But again, we saved quite a bit of space that way. And we didn't really lose much because the most important questions are here. If they're looking for something else, the motivation will be that high, so they will click. And this is really important for user experience. We can do that. Check. I think everything else is okay for now. Okay, so this is how you design with some principles quite fast or responsive mobile page based on the desktop version. There are still some things to kind of think about, but I think this is 90% and works really well. You could try and design or redesign some of these things, but I think if a section is and the copy is set up this way, I think it's good to kind of keep it similar because there's a percentage that view on mobile and buy on desktop, and the experience or the content and the text needs to be consistent and same, more or less, and we need to keep that as well. Product page. This is similar. So we would probably start with gallery, social proof, headline. We could hide this under the FAQ name description, or leave it and then have the pricing with the CTA. There's some suggestions from others that the CTA needs to be inside visible, so in the hero in the screen on the home mobile screen, but I don't really agree with that because you really want to kind of give the signals, all the signals that are needed for a purchase before asking to make that decision. So before you ask for a sale, you need to kind of, the customer needs to have all the information. So if you show the button too early, it could be a problem. It does work to have the button there if it's an impulsive buy. If it's a really kind of maybe a past customer that's really excited and doesn't really think or he already knows everything, he already purchased, so he wants to kind of finish the checkout as soon as possible. I don't know, use that discount code that you sent in the email. In that case, it makes sense to kind of have the button further up because it makes the experience faster, the purchase faster. The time spent is shorter, but still, it's for first-time customers, it will be kind of harder to kind of ask, and you have usually majority of them. And again, scrolling is simple. I would say it costs less motivation to scroll than it is to click, so things are quite balanced that way. Okay, for the next video, I'll see what we need. Maybe we'll talk about a few other things, but I think the project is 80-90% done. So I think everything is kind of there. We need to finish the product page maybe. So maybe we'll do the product page video as well. just to turn it into responsive design. It has a few tips. There are a few tips that we should, or pitfalls that we should be careful. So probably next video will be that. So subscribe and yeah, join our community if you really want to.